like to wear spandex? Good afternoon. I'm a little confused today. I thought I was showing up to audition for a new reality TV show, America's Next Great White Rapper Over 60. And I know a lot of you come to something like this, you're looking to see that next young, up-and-coming comedian with that urban, hip vibe. Line it! A little bit about myself. I traveled 40 years all over the United States. I worked in animal management. That's called construction, folks. And when I retired, I took up stand-up comedy. I actually wanted to become an Instagram influencer, but I was just unwilling to get the boob job. So I'm a clean comedian. I'm proud of that. Like all comedians, we have a dream. Mine is Paris Hilton in a bathtub with Clue. Wait a minute, wrong dream.
Yeah, let's go.
I did it.
That's to go to a place and appear at a place called the Dry Bar in Provo, Utah. They have the best clean comedians from all over the United States go there. And I'm kind of, my fantasy, I'm kind of looking out at them. They're like you're looking at me. They're smiling back, and it's more of a rural crowd, which I'm very content with. And they're wearing their work boots and their jeans and their black and red checkered shirts and their Bass Pro Shop hats. And that's just the women in the audience. So a little bit, my wife and I have been married for 42 years. People ask us all the time, how do we do it? And I give the most logical response possible. You haven't seen me naked. And when you've been married for 42 years, you develop what I'm going to call a higher level of communication. I'm going to explain some of this. So the other morning, I'm up and I'm in the kitchen and I'm doing my Tai Chi thing. I got my hot electric tea kettle going. It's starting to boil. And then I hear this rapping in the wall, and it sounds intelligent. And I'm here listening to some of those dear old saints from back east going, "Oh, you're doing that Asian yogi size. You done summoned the demon." Well, about a minute later, my wife walks in, the tea kettle stopped. And I figured out that the canisters behind it were vibrating. I'm okay. My wife walks in a minute later, mad as a hornet. And she goes, "Didn't you hear me knocking on the wall? SOS, SOS. I was out of toilet paper." Higher levels of communication. And my wife and I, we like to travel. And I'm going to tell you a little story. So guys our age, you develop what I'm going to call a leakage problem. You dribble and it's not a basketball. So not too long after I developed my little problem, we were going on a trip. And to solve that problem, we wear a pee pad. So this morning I get up and I put on a pee pad. Yes. And we go to the airport. And I got an artificial knee and an artificial hip. And I always volunteer that to the TSA people. And TSA, that stands for tension, stress, and anxiety. And so I volunteer this and I go through. And they always get a little extra wanting. So I get my extra wanting. But then the guy continues to wand me in a circle around my groin. And then he's patting me in a circle around my groin. And I look behind me, and there on that computer screen was an outline of my body with a white rectangle over my groin. And at that moment I knew I was a suspected pee pad terrorist. So the padding continued and the wanding continued. The wanding continues, the padding. And this goes on for a bit. And I'd had enough of it. And I said, "Excuse me, sir. I am wearing a pee pad. If you will just allow me to reach in, pull it out, you can examine it, and we can all go about our day. Well, I figured out that one cannot just be brandishing a pee pad of mass destruction at the airport. So when I said that, he did what any good employee would do. He got his supervisor involved. And he was not a supervisor by accident. The first thing he noticed, I was wearing a belt. So after I removed my belt, the padding continued and the wanding. The wanding and the padding. And then he started frisking me up and down my sides, up and down. Because I wasn't wearing a belt, my pants started to fall off. Out of the goodness of his heart, he allowed me to hold one pair of my hand with my pants up, the other in the air like I was having a religious experience, and he continued to frisk me. At this moment, I'm beginning to feel helpless, hopeless, vulnerable. And I look around for the one person I can depend on, my wife, who had turned her back on me and was chortling in laughter. Well, just a little bit later, he performed an official or unofficial TSA maneuver called the crotch grapple. After the crotch grappling was performed, I was told I was no longer a threat to national security. I stumbled forward, shoeless, my pants still about to fall off. I didn't know if I needed a cuddle or a cigarette, but as God is my witness, I'll never wear a pee pad to the airport again. So, no secret, I'm old, I'm white, I can be politically incorrect. So I'm not a great fit for a lot of comedy shows in the Bay Area. And I've been lucky that some African American producers like Swiss have put me in their shows. But it is during this time, these shows, that I have discovered that I have an ailment. I have a malady. I have a condition. It's called OCD, Occasional Caucasian Dysfunction. And that means I hear and see things a little differently than the predominant makeup of the audience around me. And so I'm at this show a couple of months ago, and there was this old lady, and she gets up, and she starts standing up next to the table. And she starts going, "Awamaya! Awamaya!" African American dude just walks over, cool as a cucumber, puts a bottle of Modelo on her table. That's not what I heard. I heard, "I want a mellow yellow. I want a mellow yellow." And I'm going, why that old black woman want a lemon lime soda? Someone needs to go get her a lemon lime soda. And so I didn't know I had this condition, but right out of college, I was traveling west, and I went to my first Mexican restaurant somewhere outside of Amarillo, Texas. And at my 21 years of age, there were things on that menu board, things that triggered me. There was something called chicken with mole sauce. And I'm thinking about Mexicans in a field with sombreros and clubs, grabbing moles and throwing them in a pot. And then they asked me, I ordered a burrito, I was playing it safe. Oh, they also wanted me to ask me about a torta. Why would anybody want a Mexican turtle sandwich? But I'm ordering a burrito, and they asked me if I wanted red chili or green chili. And you know, whenever I've opened that can of Hormel over the years, it's been red. Why would anyone want green fermented chili on their burrito? And then they asked me if I wanted pinto beans or refried beans. And I ate a lot of beans growing up. But my mama never fried them the first time, much less fry them a second time. This is true, folks.
Okay, wipe it off.
Now, you all figured out that I'm originally from somewhere a little different. I'm originally from West Virginia. Don't hold that against me, folks. West Virginians are some of the nicest people around. And there's a saying throughout the South, well, bless their heart. Now, in West Virginia, they will say, well, bless her heart. She fell and broke her arm. In the rest of the South, they'll say, well, bless his heart. You know, he was conceived at the family reunion. Now, my biggest claim to fame in my early part of my life, that I was the West Virginia Tech Dancing Golden Bear. And that meant once a week, I got to put on a bear suit and have some fun. Maybe take some drugs, but there anyway. But now, I was kind of, I was kind of a lone wolf at the time. I dressed up by myself. Now there's these people called furries. And I was thinking, if those furries that existed back then, said, we hear you wear a bear suit. And we all get in animal costumes on the weekend and party. Would you like to join us? And I said, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. But count me in. So, our world has changed a lot. And I don't know if it's for the better or the worse. But when you're retired, you have a time to think about things. I'm going to tell you 3 things I've had time to think about recently. Where does Superman go now to change into his costume? There aren't any more phone booths. That means he's got to go through the humiliation of going to a Starbucks and asking for a door code. And he walks in and they go, Mr. Kent, we see you're using our restroom facilities quite frequently here. We would like you to know that Metropolis has a lot of resources for the unhomed. And we see that a lot of times you exit the restroom wearing a Superman costume. We'd just like you to know that we're furries and we dress on the weekend and you're welcome to join us. We don't judge. And then John Wayne. What the heck would a John Wayne movie be right now? Good morning, barista. I'm calling you barista because I don't want to misgender you. I'll have a mocha soy latte, please. Come on over here, Stumpy. Those Native Americans are causing a fracas down on their reservation. We need to have some sensitivity training. And what about those sidekicks like Stumpy? I mean, they were the first ADA hires in Hollywood. They always had a limp. And they always had anger management issues. Damn it, let me get over there and get to the mobility scooter. I'm going to shoot those people. Well, Stumpy, if you behave yourself, well, you got to give these cattle rustlers, alleged cattle rustlers, some due process. If we behave ourselves, we'll go back to the ranch and you can have an avocado smoothie. And I'm going to finish up here with, you all know that Elvis Presley would be 91 years old right now. What would Elvis be doing right now? Well, I think I've figured it out. Well, you wake up shaking in the morning. You wake up shaking at night. You take one of these and one of those, and you feel good down to your toes, taking Elvex today. Take an Elvex, okay. Take an Elvex, you'll feel all right. Take a one in the morning, take a one at night, and then you're gonna feel out of sight. Take an Elvex today. Take an Elvex, okay. Take an Elvex, you'll feel all right. Don't take it if you got a fever, or breastfeeding either. Good God knows, don't take it if you got a fever. It's an Elvex today. Take an Elvex, okay. Take an Elvex, you'll feel all right. Tell them the king sent you. Elvex. I'm Jay Porter, thank you.
Hey guys, do it. What?